Of course, rags to riches stories are always very interesting. But with me is Mr. Dinesh Kothari, who has an equally interesting story to tell. Well, his may not be quite a rags to riches tale to tell, but a very interesting one indeed. He came here as a chartered accountant in 1974, and today he's a multi-millionaire entrepreneur. So, welcome to this interview, Mr. Kothari. Very nice indeed to meet you.
Thank you, Anjana.
And it's very interesting that you were a professional, a middle class professional, and you've grown into a successful entrepreneur. So I think everyone deserves to dream. And
Sure.
You have lived your dream, and it's turned into a vision. So please tell us about that.
Anjana, it's very interesting, as you said in the beginning, coming from a middle class professional, and like typical Indian Marwadi families, got married young. By accident, by chance, I met few people who had opening in Dubai, and they offered me a job as an accountant at a grand salary of 1,500 dirhams. And that's how I came here in 1974 as an accountant with a construction company in Sharjah. I think in year and a half, I realized that was my job. That's not what I wanted to do.
Okay.
While the money was interesting compared to India, not a whole load, but it was interesting. And but that was not the job I wanted to do. So in 76, I decided to go back home. So 78 March, becoming CEO of a large group, which was growing. By that time, the group already had 10, 15 companies. We had 3,000 employees. And when I left, it was more than 10,000 people and 25 companies globally. I would not say that I was the only one instrumental in doing it. The team which was with me and the leadership, namely Mr. Bukhater, he gave me the platform, he gave me the freedom, he gave me the wherewithal to grow. Traveled extensively around the world, did international transactions, buying real estate in America, Singapore, USA, and so on and so forth. At that age, when you have Mercedes 450 SEL to drive and a villa with a private swimming pool to live, you can't ask for more.
How old were you then?
29. Somewhere along the road, while this was all going very well, my children were growing up.
Right.
And I realized somewhere they had lost connect with India.
Which is pretty common.
Which is pretty common. Either you accept it or you don't accept it.
That is true.
I didn't want to accept it. So I did go and tell Mr. Bukhater that I'd like to leave.
So this was the third time you were going to him and telling him that you were quitting.
And this was final. Fortunately, in these years, yes, I did create financial stability. So I was not worried that what will happen.
So it's good to dream. We must all dream.
Two things. Number one, we should dream. Never have a fixed path. It's important for people to be flexible in their approach, have an open mind, be able to cling on to the opportunity that comes your way. Many times people start analyzing too much. I don't. I do go quite a lot by my gut feel. And my gut feel was that it was time to go on my own. So I did tell Mr. Bukhater that I was not looking for a job. I was leaving to start on my own so that I could relocate my family and be with them and be here. I had no plan. On that day, I did not know what will I do. I think in 6 months' time, I realized what I was good at. I was good financial consulting and management consulting. Because what I had learned in 12 years with Mr. Bukhater was management. Management of people, management of business, business planning, business growth. So I went into that. And for years, I did financial consulting practice as a management consultant, as a financial consultant, and then specialized in mergers and acquisitions. And I can tell Anjana that I had the privilege of doing India's largest ever private industry acquisition transaction. But somewhere in the heart, there is always a lurking feeling. Am I doing enough? Have I given back enough? So one of my visits to my hometown in Jodhpur, I said, yes, God has been very kind to me. I was doing very well. I had my own houses to live in, Dubai, India, everything was going well. Kids were going to very good school, but this feeling inside that I have not given back.
Okay.
And that was when I decided to set up my first school in '97 in Jodhpur, which is my hometown, which is done not for profit.
Right.
That was one way of giving back to the society. And '99 I set up my first school in Sharjah,
Okay.
Delhi Private School Sharjah. 2003 we set up DPS Dubai where we are sitting.
Yeah.
So growth went on from there. Some stage I realized that I could not stay put only in one curriculum.
Okay.
So diversified, and we have set up now 2 British curriculum schools.
Is it?
One known as Victory Heights Primary School
Right. Okay.
and other is Southview School.
I
These are British curriculum school. One is primary, other is secondary.
Okay.
So it has been
Excellent.
very satisfying. You see, yes, we all do business to make money, but somewhere at the back of your mind,
Yeah.
you want to feel satisfied.
Right.
You want to feel meaningful. I could make a lot of money, but if what I'm doing is not meaningful,
Yes.
I may have a different satisfaction. But if you, at the end of the day, you can feel that what you've done is meaningful, what you've done has created our tomorrow with these students, you feel happy.
In terms of how education is, of course, there's one aspect of giving education to students, but end of the day, it is a business, and we cannot take away from that. Because if you have to impart knowledge, there has to be an investment, there has to be a revenue.
Yep.
That revenue has to be put back into that industry. So tell us about that, how.
You see, education is, when you're doing commercially, obviously
Yeah.
anything you do commercially is business.
Yeah.
But here passion is a little different. You're not necessarily only driven by money.
Right.
Obviously, if you don't make profit, then you'll not run it. So we make money, sure, we make profit. But profit is not the only driver. The driver is quality.
Right.
The driver is to see that these children are
Reach a certain level of.
certain quality, standard.
Going back to the time when you first thought about, you had a school in Jodhpur,
Right.
and then you decided to come and start here. What made you think about Sharjah? What made you think about Dubai? What made you think about UAE again?
The reason I thought of Sharjah first time because I landed in Sharjah. My first job was in Sharjah. First 15 years I lived in Sharjah. So that was an emirate which was my home. Obviously, having done Sharjah, done it successfully,
It was only
next destination had to be Dubai.
going back to that point where you were a professional, a middle class professional. So many of us are the same here. So and we always harbor this thing of sort of doing something, of being on our own, of being your own boss and
Yeah.
having an enterprise. So there is a certain amount of risk, I guess, that you need to have, and a burning desire to be an entrepreneur, perhaps.
You said two things. As I said in the beginning, yes, you have to have the desire to go on your own, number one.
Right.
You have to recognize this fact when you are on your own, there will be business risk, and you should be willing to take it.
Right.
You cannot be over calculative when you take a business risk.
Yeah.
Somewhere you have to look inside and go by your gut feel and say, yes, it will work. And most importantly, a confidence on yourself. I will make it work. I'll make it work. I'll work 18 hours a day. I'll work 24 hours a day and make it work.
Yeah.
There are always what I call turning points in life. The reason I got into education because somebody told me that give back something to society.
Yes.
And I said, what should I give back? Give back something which will touch everybody's life.
Right.
I did not want to do anything which was religion centric. I could have set up a trust for my religion, for my people. That would not have benefited anyone, nor would have satisfied me.
Okay.
So that was the desire number one, to do something which will touch everybody's life. I was lucky that this thought of education came in my mind.
Yeah.
It was not planned. It was more like influenced. And when that influence came, it took me 3 3 months to make a call and say, yes, I'm doing it.
Nice. So good.
And so, yes, that has to be burning. You see, somewhere in your heart,
Yeah.
if you're from middle class,
Yes.
you have to have a little angst. The rest of the world.
True.
There are times when people don't treat you well.
Yeah. Yes.
It's no point retaliating at that point.
Right.
You have to take it as a challenge inside.